Why do you think you are the best candidate to take on either General Paxton or George P. Bush?
I'm a Latina from the border. I'm a fifth generation Texan. I know what Texans are going through every single day. I've practiced immigration, family, criminal defense, and constitutional law. I know what it's like to go into a courtroom with a Texan who's fighting a possession of marijuana charge. I also know what it's like to build up a case from the ground up that goes to the Supreme Court to fight for a constitutional right. These are experiences that are going to make me an attorney general that is understanding of all the issues that people are facing and to really fight for Texas families.
Let me get your thoughts on a poll that came out last month by the Texas Hispanic Policy Foundation that showed you were ahead of your opponent, Joe Jaworski, by 15 points, 46 to 31%.
I think the poll indicates where Texans are at. We have changed a lot when it comes to our demographics. 60% of the state are people of color, nearly 40% are Latino. And the way to win Texas is through the Latino vote. So, the fact that I'm polling so well amongst Latinos, leading off any other candidate, Republican or Democrat, in the top three positions says something. People are looking for qualified representation, and I bring that to the table.
Let me get your thoughts as well on the news that really made a lot of headlines last week, and that was the leaked draft majority opinion by the Supreme Court justices, which indicated that, at least back then in February when this draft was submitted, that they may be on the verge of reversing Roe v. Wade. Your thoughts?
I know a lot of Texans, a lot of Americans woke up angry after seeing that leaked draft opinion about Roe being overturned. Abortions didn't start with Roe. The end of safe abortions started with Roe. Abortions are safer because of Roe. And what we're seeing is we're going to be moving backwards if Roe versus Wade is overturned. And look, nearly over 70% of Texans agree that abortion should be legal in some form. And, it is a healthcare issue. So if we're gonna allow Roe to be overturned, that means that all these other civil rights that are predicated on the right to privacy are at risk, and that does include marriage equality. That includes so many other civil rights that people actually enjoy, access to birth control. And if we're going to let Roe fall, then we're going to see the erosion of a lot of other civil rights.
As you know, if Roe versus Wade is overturned, there is a law already on the books passed by the Texas legislature last year, the so-called trigger law, which would ban abortion in the state of Texas. So what is your thought on that?
Yeah, the trigger law will go into effect 30 days after the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and it does empower the Attorney General to enforce civil actions. Obviously, it's pretty critical to have an Attorney General that is going to stand up for civil rights, going to stand up for this important constitutional right. Once Roe is overturned, the states will have the decision-making power on whether or not women will have access to this important health care. As the next Attorney General, I would fight for this right to health care for millions of women that are going to be impacted from this.
How would you do so? What authority would, if you are elected Attorney General, what authority would you have to fight it, if any?
Yeah, the Attorney General is an independent executive position, and the duty of the Attorney General runs to the people of Texas. So using creative lawyering, which I've done in the past in terms of getting access to abortion care for my client, Jane Doe, these are the things that I'm going to bring to the table as the Attorney General in fighting for access to reproductive health care, is working with local communities, working with other state attorney generals to ensure that we extend access to this very important healthcare resource.
Turning our attention to the border, as you know, Title 42, the Biden administration had hoped to end this late this month, but a federal judge has blocked that. Where are you on this judge's decision blocking that and on the policy itself?
Immigration, first of all, is a federal issue. And I believe that we should be treating people with humanity and with dignity. A lot of folks are coming to this country asking for help. And that's something that's been deeply embedded in our history as Americans. I started off my legal career as an immigration lawyer, and I worked with hundreds of children that were fleeing violence from Central America. And they looked to the United States as a place of respite, a place of peace, and a place where they can live their lives in dignity. So I believe that we need to use that as a guidance to ensure that we treat everyone humanely, that we allow the federal government to resolve these issues because it is a federal issue, and to treat people with some humanity.
So what if you were elected as Attorney General, would you drop all of the state's lawsuits against the Biden administration as it relates to illegal immigration and the Biden administration's policies at the border?
Look, I think Ken Paxton has used this office for divisive politics at the end of the day. This is a wedge issue that he's used to waste Texas taxpayer money to go after the federal government on these issues instead of focusing on the things that people need in this state, instead of making sure that people have access to health care. Ken Paxton has done this time and time again, challenging the federal government and using our tax money to enact his own vision and his own power that he wants to retain. We need to ensure that Texans have access to healthcare, that they can put food on the table, that they can get a good paying job. Those are the things that we should be focused on as statewide leaders, not on fighting the federal government over an issue that we really have no business in.
But if you are to be elected, depending on where these cases are, where these lawsuits are in challenging the Biden administration, you will ultimately have to make a decision whether your office is going to continue prosecuting those lawsuits. And so have you thought about what you would do in that case? Would you just drop them?
Yeah, I think what needs to happen is a full audit of all the cases that are ongoing. My intention is, once I get into office, I'm going to look at all of the cases that are currently pending and make sure that we pull out of the cases that are wasteful of our resources and our time and attention, and then focus on making sure that we're protecting civil rights, that we're making sure people have access to voting, because that has been something that has been eroded over the last few years. We need to focus on the things that are going to meaningfully improve people's lives instead of wasting our funds on suing the federal government over issues that do not impact all Texans and do not uplift all Texans.
And what is my last question to you, and I appreciate your time, is what is your sense of what is happening at the border right now?
Look, I'm the only candidate that is from the Rio Grande Valley, from the border region. I'm a fifth generation Texan. Border communities rely on each other for their families and for economic reasons. We are completely intertwined with each other, and we need to acknowledge that there are there's a lot of commerce, a lot of people, and a lot of families that go back and forth. And we can't just say that these communities don't matter, because they're also Texas communities. I do believe what we're seeing happen with the GOP leadership and how they're using the border as a wedge issue. They're using it to divide us instead of looking at the good examples that we're seeing in these communities, and not looking at what we really need in order to uplift everyone.
Rochelle Garza, Democratic candidate for Texas Attorney General. Have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it as always.
All right, thank you.